let's move on to that conversation. Let's talk about Kyler Murray. What's going on over there? These numbers are according to ESPN. So if they're wrong, blame ESPN. But Kyler Murray's future in Arizona as a starter, he's 38, 48, and 1. He's a free agent in 2029, but he has an out after 2027 written into his contract. He has $49.835 million guaranteed in 2026 because that March deadline did hit in 2025 that brings it around. Pre-June 1st cut, you would have $57.81 million in dead cap. If you cut him after June 1st, he's $50.2 million in 2026. The rest of that dead cap is in 2027, so about 7.6. And then you would save $2.7 million, so you could sign like a kicker or something. But
yeah, and like in March there's this thing. If he's on the roster in March, it triggers a $19.5 million of his 27 base guarantee is guaranteed. So there, if they trade him or cut him before that, it's not as bad. So that there is that trigger that's a big factor. And I don't know how accurate these numbers are. Man, I'll tell you, you go to different cap sites, sometimes it's a little tricky. Spotrac, one of the places, I'm sorry, my dog is barking because someone's at my door. Yeah. So anyway, like if they trade him, there's some different, I think.
These are the trade numbers here for.
I think it's not as bad. And I think, again, I'm not a capologist, so it gets a little tricky. But I think they have enough other moves that they can make that I think they can work around that, especially with how many guys they have on rookie deals, such a young roster. So I think you can absorb that. But to me, the bigger question is, what are they going to do with him, right? The money's kind of messy, but it's workable in their situation. The question is, do they move on from him or do they keep him? And the sentiment has been that they're going to move on from him. And I, as much as I've been a fan, do favor that because injuries and, like I said, I think he needs a fresh start. But so much of that comes down to who the next coach is. If the next coach wants to run with him and Brissett and does not want to have to worry about their quarterback situation for the next year or two, and figures we'll run with it, and we don't have to extend him beyond these next 2 years, and figure out from there. If the coach wants him, then they'll make it work. If they don't, then I think they're going to pull the Band-Aid off and try to make some other cuts and try to get this roster as close to winning as possible. So I think I would lean towards him being out because of that bonus or that guarantee money of March. And the ownership and GM have been non-committal on his future, which, is if they're not, even if they do say that you're their guy, that doesn't always mean something, but the fact that they're non-committal is kind of concerning.
Right. And this is really, a good period to trade him. This draft for quarterbacks sucks. Like I'm in Indiana. Love Fernando Mendoza. There's going to be a bunch of children named Fernando this year, I'm sure. But I don't know how ready he is for the NFL. He's going to be the first overall pick, very likely. Maybe Arvell Reese, maybe the Raiders take shake things up, go crazy with it. But Fernando Mendoza is very likely the first overall pick. After that, now that Dante Moore is pulled out, it's Ty Simpson maybe. And if you're a team like the Jets, that I'm thinking of the Jets specifically right now, and I know they've been tied to Kyler a lot. Maybe you trade for Kyler. I just texted Stan, the Jet fan, to ask his thoughts on it because he isn't here right now. But I think that you could get a lot for Kyler Murray this year, even with his decently sized contract, just because there's a lot of teams looking for a young quarterback that aren't going to find it in the draft.
Yeah. I don't think you're getting a ton as much as I wish. You're not getting multiple first-round picks. You might get a late first-round pick. Definitely good, I think. Well, I should say definitely, but I think good chance you could get a second-round pick. because of what you're talking about, right? Because of the draft you're not going to find that guy in the draft.
Yeah, I mean, what do you think has been Kyler's issue? Because Kyler's a former, top pick, top prospect, top guy. What kind of happened that does he have a chance of resurging, or is this just who he is?
I've talked about and thought about Kyler Murray a lot, and I've generally been an apologist for him. I think some of the criticisms have been unfair. He has limitations. Most quarterbacks do. People seem to forget that, but he does have limitations. So let me start kind of with the issues. As cliche as it is, the height does matter, especially over the middle of the field, seeing intermediate stuff. Like he can see the field, but there's just these 10% less visibility with being blocked by the offensive line, right? And that little bit is enough to make a difference. He's still been effective because of the raw talent and the things he can do with his legs. But if you're looking for a guy who can just dissect, diagnose, and pick apart of the field in front of him as a pocket passer, he has limitations. So that's hurt him. It seems like he's been a first read or scramble guy, right? And some people want to make that about practice or study habits. I actually think it's more a vision thing. I think because he can't see, it's harder to go on to the next read. So if he doesn't get his first read, he has to kind of make room, scramble or make time and extend the play, which he can do really well. He can, when things break down, he can do things that other people can't. But other quarterbacks like Brissett in that same situation sits in the pocket a little longer and then gets the ball out. Kyler can't do that as well. So you can work with that. Like if you could build an offense where it's much more rollouts and bootlegs and take advantage of that, you could do some things with that. But if you're needing him to be a pocket style passer, which I think they tried too much to do, it didn't work so well, right? So I think there is a style, there's kind of a system kind of element that has some limitations. I think he works hard, tries hard, cares. I don't think the character things have been fair criticisms of him. That's my opinion. I think he's a little aloof, but I don't think he's a bad kid. But I think it's more that system thing. But he has obviously elite leg talent and elite arm talent. He can make throws that only a handful of quarterbacks can make. It's more the processing the field in front of him, and I think that's more a vision thing. So he needs to be in the right system. He can make the big plays, but you get the right system where you are a defensive team that runs the ball a lot, and you don't need him to be your Joe Burrow, right? You just need him to be that, just to hand that ball off and make some plays here and there, but the run game and the defense are going to carry your team. You could be really successful with him, right? Especially if you leverage the run, but that's kind of his limitations. But I think he's I think he's one of the 15 to 20 best NFL quarterbacks.
Okay. Yeah. As he's getting older, and he's only 28, he's not ancient by any means, but that mobility will start to go as he's older. Mm-hmm. So what do you say to people who bring that up as a concern?
You're right. It potentially, right? Now, some quarterbacks, Mike Vick played reasonably long. He had obviously interrupted, but he had a resurgence, right? Russell Wilson, has kind of fall lately, but he played a while, right? So I don't know that it falls off as quickly as you think. And in part, Kyler's fast, but he's also quick and agile. So, he's not going to be. I'd be watch him prove me wrong, but he's not going to be, Joe Flacco, 40 something still playing, but I don't think he's going to fall off once he hits 30 necessarily. You might see a little bit of a draw off that, but but he is limited, right? And if you're looking for a guy for the next couple of years, like the Jets, while you're trying to get someone else, in that situation, I think it could be really good, right?
Okay, there you have it, folks. New York Jets fans that follow us, that's could be your future quarterback.